Global fertility rates are dropping. Experts worry about world's population. So, you know, if you go back to the 1960s, you had researchers who said that, oh, we need to be worried about the total global population. It's not sustainable. And they began putting in things to reduce the world population, to get people to stop having children. And now we are heading to a point where we are dropping below replacement levels in many countries. And now the global population is facing a point where we are dropping or about to drop below fertility rates that can sustain the global population. In other words, more children, or rather, more people will pass away every year than children will be born every year. Let's jump into the video.
Experts are warning that global fertility rates will drop below the point needed to sustain the world's population.
Yeah, this is major news. The UN has yet to publish estimated rates for 2022 and 23, but experts predict it will continue to decline based on the annual birth rate data for individual nations. In 2021, the rate stood at 2.3 children per woman, and as you see on your screen, that slipped from 2.5 in 2017, and it's key because officials say the rate to sustain the global population is 2.2.
For more, let's bring in Jennifer Shuba. She's the president and CEO of the Population Reference Bureau. Jennifer, first of all, why are we seeing birth rates falling, and which parts of the world seem to be most heavily affected by this?
Hi, thanks for having me. That's a great question. So they've actually been falling since the 1960s, the rate of global population increase. So just to put it in a little bit of context, those who were alive in the 1960s might remember a big push for actually bringing birth rates down in places where it was high. So what we see today is actually the result of a lot of work in terms of having girls enrolled in secondary school, having family planning available for people, ending child marriage, et cetera. So when you think about going from very high to closer to replacement level where we are today, it's part of that long-term trend.
And the description you've made sounds just like folks in Japan. They work on their professional lives. They put off relationships to a point where it's having a fertility issue. It's happening everywhere, the US, Denmark, China. What is the economic impact of an older generation that is not being replaced by younger folks?
Well, I think what you bring up is actually the second part of this decline. So it wasn't just about going from really high to low. It's now at a point where we're saying from low to even lower.
Wow.
And the short answer to your question is that we don't know what the impact of it is, because this has never happened before in all of human history. And of course, the danger when something is new is that we can just run, rampant with our assumptions about what might happen. What will happen is that countries will react to this differently. Those that adapt and put in place resilient policies will come out on top. And those that don't, that just keep trying to change population, will actually not fare as well.
Jennifer, I just want to question the assumption, though, that we need to be keeping the global population birth rate increasing or even steady for that matter, because people are living longer than ever before. We know the negative impact that humans have on the environment as we're struggling to sort of get that under check. What are some of the implications of these falling birth rates? Might it be positive in a way?
Well, it's really what we've worked for a long time. And in fact, in the US, part of the reason the rate is down is that teen pregnancy rates are down, which of course were lots of campaigns around that for a while. So I think, yes, there are going to be both positives and negatives of this, but really it is in how we respond to it. If we are putting in place policies that recognize that this is a permanent shift, which is what we should be doing, thinking about work and retirement at the company level, thinking about building strong communities, all of that can help us live better lives. And that's where the focus needs to be, not on population size, but on people's quality of life.
So basically, they're letting us know that, and this is crazy stuff, more people are passing away than children are being born every year. And this is a permanent shift. So this is the decline of humanity. And this is a positive shift, guys. And this is the first time this has ever happened in human history, where the entirety of the world's population is declining. The global population. And I've talked about this happening with the fall of Rome and so forth. But she's not wrong. She's not wrong, because this is not one country. This is not one continent. This is not one region of the world. No, this is the entire global population. The entire global population is declining, and it's not going to come back. And we have feminism to thank for this. Feminism and the Sims. And we shouldn't look at it as entirely a negative, because there are positives. Look at the effect. Listen to this reporter. We know the effects that humans have on the environment. Hence, what she's saying is that the planet would be better off if we were not here. This is a sick reality we live in, y'all. This is a sick reality. And they're like, the quality of life, planning for retirement, and strong communities. Most of us will never be able to retire. Think about the logistics here. And as countries are failing, as the United States is failing, Western society is failing, people are going to try to bail from these countries, and you're going to start to see travel bans. What we're entering right now in the United States is a thing called stagflation, although it's much worse than that.
Let's kind of lay this out for a moment. We've quickly gone from the hard landing worry of last year to the soft landing consensus of the first quarter to maybe stagflation or inflation for longer now. Where does that leave the markets?
Yeah, and thanks for having me on again, Kelly. So yeah, as you alluded to, I think it's important to talk about the setup in terms of how we got here, right? We started the year with the Fed pivot fully priced, then to higher for longer, which the equity markets have now seemingly digested. But stagflation risks are seemingly creeping back up again with some of the recent macro data in terms of GDP, PCE data, ECI, for example. So we wanted to get a sense on our side, what sectors are mispriced for that risk, even though it's not our economists' base case, right? As you alluded to, no one really wants to say the R word anymore, at least when we talk to investors. And what our models are suggesting is a strong defensives and commodity centrics versus cyclicals tilt, a very 2022-esque. And gold miners are really the only industry poised to potentially outperform in that scenario.
Gold miners would outperform in stagflation?
Yeah, and the reason we think is because gold miners, especially relative to traditional miners, we think that's an interesting relative value pair. It's geared to economic cyclicality, and it's sort of a gold alpha trade, so to speak. And you're really seeing this play out already in the earnings stories, given the rally the actual commodity has had.
Gold miners, guys, are the only ones that are going to come out ahead in all of this. Gold miners. If this doesn't tell you that we are screwed and that the fiat currency is headed for zero, I don't know what else will. Guys, I want to order some Chinese. So I decided to go and look at the app. The Chinese is already insanely expensive. I go back to the app and I look at the price. It's gone up again. It's like every week or every couple of weeks, the prices for food just keeps on going up. Like, we are going up. We're seeing price increases, by the month now. By the month. Every month, it just keeps on creeping up. 20 cents here, 30 cents there, 50 cents here, $1 here, $2 there. This is insanity. No one can afford to survive in this economy. You buy your own food from the grocery store, and it's the cost is insane. And then some of you guys are like, "Well, I agree. That's why you have to shop at this place." You're not hearing me, are you? When you start to have to do insane compromises, not an insane compromise, when you can't just go to the grocery store, a normal grocery store, and find affordable food, even just small items, you have to understand that we are heading for horrible economic times. A lot of you have already dropped out of Western society. You've already walked away. You're basically focusing on self-preservation and self-care. You're working just enough to survive and thrive, and you're not doing anything else. So this doesn't directly affect you. because you've already disconnected from society. You know, a lot of you are ghosting in plain daylight at this moment. Let's just be honest about it. But for the average person, this is a nightmare. This is an absolute and utter nightmare. And it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse, guys. We are heading towards the $15 Big Mac. We are heading towards the $15 Big Mac. Get ready for it when a Big Mac costs $11. Get ready for it. But we are heading for a $15 Big Mac. You will see a $15 Big Mac in California. And I'm hearing some of these idiots, some idiots that are like, well, yes, the prices at McDonald's are going up, but the quality has improved as well. Are you out of your damn mind? The quality of McDonald's food has improved? You've got to be crapping me. You've got to be crapping me. Some of their buns might be a little bit better, although it's not so. The overall truth is that the quality of their food has declined overall. It's gotten smaller. It's experienced shrinkflation. You look at the burger patties, they're smaller. Filet-O-Fish, the sandwiches are tiny now. And they cost more than ever. There was a time when you could get like 2 Filet-O-Fishes cheap. Now they're like $7 a piece. It's crazy. It's crazy. And for those of you that are like, just prepare everything at home, it kind of makes life empty. Imagine not being able to go out and grab a coffee, right? Oh, well, I'd like to go and grab a coffee. Oh, that's $3.50 for a coffee? Well, that's why you should make your coffee at home. Some of you guys are losing your damn minds. You're basically saying you should never buy food outside of your house. You should never eat out. You should always just make everything at home. It's not practical. But like I said, a lot of you have disengaged from Western society. You've walked away. You've walked away. Because we're at the point now where it's not just eating at McDonald's. It's literally everything and anything else. It's just buying food in general. You have to shop around for decent prices on groceries, and even then, it's insane. You have to make a lot of compromises. It's crazy. The average American doesn't have the time. Some of the simplest joys in life, because life is extremely stressful, is just being able to, let's say, go and have buy some ice cream, buying an ice cream cone. Oh, that's $4. Well, you shouldn't be eating that anyway. Like there's something wrong with some of you. Some of the small things in life were just basically being able to go out and have simple pleasures, guilty treats. I'm going to have an ice cream cone. I'm going to have, I'm going to have some, I'm going to have some smokes. I'm going to smoke, I'm going to have some smokes. Smoking isn't good for you. It's a waste of money. like that's what I'm saying. Like some of you are completely God. Like you've just disengaged from everything. And women don't realize it. You have a lot of these women who think that they're going to get men to come back by shaming them and making these demands. Guys, women don't know what life is like when you don't even have a pot to piss in. All right? The average woman doesn't know the true horrors of being destitute, of having nothing, having nowhere to go, not having a bathroom available, having to crap in the streets. It changes you. It damages you psychologically. Okay? But these women, they don't give a damn. But it's a part of them, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. It is from the streets that they came, and it is to the streets that they shall return. At a young age, you'll start to see the streets calling out to them. By the time they're like 12 years old, the streets are calling out to them, and you see it in their behavior. You think I'm exaggerating. You think I'm being facetious. I'm not. I have fathers who talk about it, that say they have young daughters, and by the time they're getting towards those preteen years. The streets are calling out to them. Guys, don't forget I have another channel called Angry where I discuss gaming, anime, geek stuff, nerd stuff, real world stuff, and whatever else interests me. There's a link to it in the description of the video. Go check it out. Subscribe to my channel. Support my work. And if you're enjoying the content on this channel and you want even more of this content, you head over to the Men Walking Away channel. I release daily videos on that channel, and it's linked in the description of the video. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Global fertility rates are dropping, and experts are worrying about the world's population declining to a point where, we cannot come back from this. And I mean, she said it. She said it that this is a permanent thing. Like, guys, they won. They won. They got exactly what they wanted, And of course, the reporter goes, the impact of human beings on the environment. So there are important, so there are benefits to this. Like, they got exactly what they wanted. They wanted to bring about the end, and and they're pushing as hard as they can to do this. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, Men Walking Away, and cheers.